Namaste everybody. Welcome to Udya's classroom. In today's lesson, we are going to see the classification of business activity. In the previous class, we have discussed the classification of industry. In today's lesson, let's see the classification of commerce. Business activities could be classified into industry and commerce. Industry classification we have discussed. In today's class, commerce we are going to discuss. First of all, what is the role of commerce? This commerce term everywhere we would have heard. Actually, the term commerce refers to a trading activity. A trading activity will be fulfilled because of this commerce only. So, the commerce will be referring to the activities directly or indirectly. The commerce will help the people to sell the goods and services to the ultimate customer. So, that is the role of commerce. So, commerce could be classified into trade and auxiliaries to trade. First, let's see the classification of trade. Trade could be classified into internal trade and external trade. So, internal trade means what? First of all, trade means what? Trade means buying and selling of goods and services, right? So, internal trade means the trading, that is buying and selling of goods and services, will take within the geographical boundaries, within the geographical limits of the country. So, internal trade also called as home trade. So, within the country, if the sales and purchasing of goods and services, if it is taking place, that is called internal trade. So, what is the classification of internal trade? Wholesale and retail trade. So, this is what the classification of internal trade. Wholesale means we know very well, buying of goods and services in bulk and then selling to someone. So, buying and selling in bulk called wholesale. So, that is coming under internal trade. What do you mean by retail? So, in retail trade, the goods and services will be purchased in smaller quantities and then it will be sold. So, that is called retail. Moving on to the next classification, external trade. So, external trade means nothing but beyond the geographical boundaries, if we do purchase and sales, that is called external trade. That is outside the country, if we do buying and selling of goods and services activity, that is called external trade. So, further, the external trade could be classified into import, export and entrepot. What do you mean by import? We all know import means buying of goods from other country. So, that is called import. We will be importing some goods and services from other country for our domestic usage. So, that is called import. What do you mean by export? Our country produced goods will be sold to another country. We will be exporting the goods and services. That is called export. And what is this entrepot? Entrepot means nothing but the goods which we have imported from other country. From here again we will be exporting to other country. Example, I am importing some goods from America and I am not going to use those goods. I am going to export those goods to China. That is called entrepot. Importing goods from another country and then again exporting to some other country called as entrepot. Alright, so we have seen the classification of trade. So, next we are going to see the next classification of commerce, auxiliaries to trade. So, for doing all these activities, trading activities, we need some support, some help, right? So, who will be helping? These people will be helping the traders. So, they are all called as auxiliaries to trade. Auxiliaries means what? Support or helpers. So, they are helping for doing trading business. So, that is the reason why commerce is an integral part of business. So, commerce is very important and it is playing very vital role in business activities. So, auxiliaries means I have told you now. So, let's move on to the classification. The first auxiliaries to trade is transportation and next is warehousing and the next is insurance and banking and finance and advertising. Let me explain you one by one. Transportation. What the transportation is doing actually, without transport, is it possible to receive all the goods and services? Do you think we can fulfill all our wishes and needs and wants? No, it's not at all possible. Now you can take COVID-19 example. If we are not availing all these transport services, how we will be getting all groceries and vegetables, all the provisions, how we could get? Because of this transportation. Transportation is the first auxiliary to trade. Without transportation, we cannot get any goods and services, and we cannot fulfill our needs at all, even if we have money. So we have to understand the importance of transportation for any business. So transportation could be any ways, roadways, railways, airways, anything, right? So this transportation, actually what it is doing, it is removing the hindrances of place. Wherever you are, you can satisfy your need. So hindrances means what? Stoppage. So any place you can live, you can get the goods and services because of this transportation. Moving on to the next classification, warehousing. So what do you mean by warehousing? The place where goods will be stored after the production. So depending upon the nature of goods, the storage room, that is warehouse, will be built, constructed according. So depending upon the goods, if it is perishable goods, according to the perishable goods, the warehouse to be constructed. So non-perishable means it differs. So that is the reason why warehouse will be constructed depending upon the nature of goods. Okay. So what the warehousing actually doing? It is removing the time hindrances. So if we store goods in the warehouse, anytime we can sell the goods to the final consumer. So warehousing also playing vital role, being a auxiliary to trade. And the next auxiliary is insurance. Without insurance, you cannot transport the goods from one place to other places. Insurance. Being a businessman, he has to undergo various types of risk. So without risk, business is not possible at all. Businessman cannot run any businesses. So when the businessman deals with goods, produced goods, he has to undergo risk. So in order to protect the businessman, insurance is helping. How? In various types of insurance policies we know very well, like fire insurance, theft insurance, many kinds of insurance we have. So insurance is protecting the business people actually. Auxiliary to trade is banking and finance. Without banking and finance, we cannot do any business at all. We know very well business people need financing huge when they engage in the business process. In the previous classes, we have discussed about the intermediaries, different intermediaries, even in ancient times of trade, how people have helped the business people, right? So banking and finance is removing the hindrance of finance, and it is supporting the business people by giving loans and advances for their business. And the next is advertising. How advertisement and advertising is helping the business people? We know nowadays without advertising we cannot do any business at all. So ultimately, to reach the final consumer, even if it is a manufacturer or trader, whoever it is, they have to approach the advertisers. So without advertisement, we cannot even avail the information about the particular product. So advertising also is one of the auxiliaries to trade. So these are all the auxiliaries to trade. Now we have seen commerce could be classified into two, trade and auxiliaries to trade. Trade could be classified into internal trade, external trade, and internal trade is classified into wholesale and retail. External trade, import, export, on-report. Coming to auxiliaries to trade, it could be classified into 5. Number 1, transportation, warehousing, insurance, banking and finance, advertising. All these auxiliary services helping the trade. So that is how the commerce is classified like this. Having understood about the classification of commerce, we will end up the session today. I will meet you in the next class. Till then, it's bye from Mudaya.